Hi, everybody.
I like that you gave up.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
Erin
finish
was trying
counting.
to do a countdown. She was trying to do a countdown. It was like, it went 1, 2, and then it broke down a little bit, and then it went 1, and then she just switched it.
Yeah. Look, we're trying.
It was very good.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to MangaPod. I'm Erin.
I'm Dodger.
I'm Moika.
I'm Lou. And I'm Lou. And you're watching MangaPod. We're a weekly podcast in which we get together after we read all or part of a manga. Then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are talking Children of the Whales, chapters 1 through 14, volumes 1 through 4.
16.
Huh?
1 through, I thought it was 1
16.
It is. Did I say 15?
14.
You
I
said
did?
14.
That's
No,
why
I
I was
didn't.
like confused.
Did I?
Okay.
You 100% said 14.
In my
Okay,
brain,
so
I
we
did
clip
not.
it.
My 1, 2, 1, go.
Counting forward and then backward. Technically said the
Easy.
same amount of numbers that usually happen.
Yeah.
You know?
1 through 16 is what we checked out. If you guys have never. Oh, oops.
What?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's really funny. Wait, I just saw it too. Oh my god. So on the overlay currently, if you are watching this, Wales. This is not the country Wales. It is the creature Wales. It should be the spelling. Just FYI.
I'm doing really good today.
They're all endearing, cute goofs. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's good. We're all good.
Yep.
If you've never joined us for a MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a spoiler-free description, aka summary, as well as our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you are interested in, you can go ahead and check it out after we get to spoiler section. Come back and watch the VOD on YouTube or listen to it on Spotify. I'm going to go ahead and read fucking whales. Read the description for the manga. Okay. Oh, we do ask that nobody post any spoilers in the chat until we get to spoiler section. Once we're in spoiler section, please don't post anything past what we read, chapter 16.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Chakuro is a 14-year-old archivist. Is that how you say that? Archivist of the Mud Whale, a nigh utopian island that floats across the surface of an endless sea of sand. 9 in 10 of the inhabitants of the Mud Whale have been blessed and cursed with the ability to use Saima, special powers that doom them to an early death. Chakuro and his friends have stumbled across other islands, but they have never met, seen, or heard of a human who wasn't from their own. One day, Chakuro visits an island as large as the Mud Whale and meets a girl who will change his destiny. Does this
Really
mean...
You did that because there's a scene in the anime that translated really weirdly. Well, it's weird in the manga too. But it's when the little girl's singing after all the fighting's happening. And in the anime, it was so disorienting when I was watching it because it's just violence, 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 and then girl singing in the middle of nowhere.
Oh gosh.
That's what I was trying to do.
You knew.
Anyways.
Would anybody like to go first for spoiler-free recommendations?
I can go.
Do it.
I didn't know anything about this. Going in. And I really liked it. The tone is really nice. It does a good job of developing like mystery about things without it feeling like it's kind of circle jerking on the mystery. Like you'll never know. Like things progress, at least where we read. Things progressed at a good pace. And yeah, I found myself really curious about what is going on in this fascinating world with the children in Wales, the country. So
Shut up.
yeah, I really liked it. I would definitely recommend it.
Cool. Like
I would recommend it. I really liked a lot of the characters. I think the story's really intriguing, especially if you read like the little tidbits in between the chapters that
Yeah.
the author writes, and
Mhm.
it's just like, what the fuck is going on? I need to like solve this mystery.
Mhm. I recommend it. I had a little bit harder time getting through some sections of it just because there was so much lore and info dump. And there were parts of it that felt a little generic to me, but overall, I really enjoyed the progression of the story and what we were finding out, and it didn't seem like it was pushing, like you guys say, pushing the mystery so that you never figure out what's going on. It did a really good job of here's bits and pieces of the mystery that are going to add to the rest of the mystery and want you to keep reading until you reach the final part about what is going on with these people and the world and stuff like that. I think the world is really fleshed out too. So if you're really into fascinating like world building, this is one you would really enjoy. And I during soundcheck I compared it to Nazca Valley of the Wind, which is the Miyazaki manga. It's very, very, very similar to that in tone and pacing and how they use the panels and art and stuff like that. So I think if you like those, you should definitely go ahead and check it out. So I do recommend it as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you guys have anything? Aw, hi Kaylee. Hi Kales. Love you. So do you guys have anything else you would like to add? Otherwise we can go ahead and jump into spoiler section.
I'm down to jump into spoilsies.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We will say that the only warning, like trigger warnings for this are violence. That's the big one. There's not anything else. Like violence is the main one right now. So yeah, spoilers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The whale is God.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they're actually called in the manga.
New. They're called new.
New.
The new
The new
whales.
I really appreciated the fact that we had a pronunciation guide. I tried to remember because I still, like, as I was pronouncing it in my head, it's very hard to, like, backtrack and figure out, like, the right way to say it. But I did like that the mangaka was like, hey, I'm going to make some of this easy for you. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I thought actually I guess we could have done this in the like non-spoiler section, but for those that don't know, the author talked about, I thought it was really interesting, so we'll get this out of the way. The author talked about how they got this story from like a random, it's not even like a bookstore. It was just like a storefront where they had a bunch of like, I don't even want to call them manuscripts, but they had a lot of papers that some of them were just written by the same person, a lot of them were just different ideas from other people, diaries. And so by chance she just happened to like run into this place. Tania, I think is what she remembers it being called. And so she just picked up like a pile of papers and bought it really cheaply. And then going through it, she realizes that it's like a diary, or it's really weird. Even she's really weirded out by it, and it's just really mysterious because it seems to be this guy that just wrote down diary entries, and then in between it was like talking about real people in a sense. And so it was really hard for her to like tell like, did this happen like in some foreign country that I'm not familiar with? So it seems otherworldly. And everyone, I guess, had their names are based off of colors, but the names in the manga are like translations of the colors, and so that's why some of them are like shades of red. But it's like I've never I've never read this like name before, even like the
Mm-mm.
English translated guide that they give you. So I thought it was
Right.
really weird and interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that was a weird story too. Like
Mhm.
I
Oh yeah,
couldn't
because
tell.
oh
Sorry.
sorry. The storefront also like was gone after a week or so because she was really invested in what was happening, but it was so like disjointed because pages were missing. So
Mhm.
she went back to try and buy the rest of the paperwork,
And the
and
store
she
was just
just it was
gone.
gone,
Mhm.
gone. So it's just like what the
So weird. So weird. Yeah.
So
I couldn't
crazy.
tell if because there was a book that I read when I was a kid that had like a foreword to it um that referenced like all of these fictional characters, and I was like, "Oh my god." So those people actually existed. I've misunderstood this whole time, right? Because the foreword was written as though it was a person like talking about the story. And then
Mm.
somebody was like, "Well, you have to remember that like an author can totally do that too. An author can like make up like details about how the story was written." So when I was reading that, I was like, I can't tell if this is like more of the story. Like she made this up too. Like I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's I guess it's like really weird because it's not it isn't just a weird thing for her to put. It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just I don't yeah. Things it's so weird. Either way, it's like it made me really intrigued cuz
Yeah.
now I'm like I want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like really trippy. You're just like, what is the truth?
Mhm.
Just like, what is created by her and what did she see? And is anything true that she's telling us within those author's notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very different because you always, like, it is very common. I guess I won't say always, but 99% of the time, you get the mangaka at the end of the volume or at the end of chapters leaving like this fun little interactive moment of this is how I did this, or this is where I'm at, or you guys are so great. This funny thing happened while I was making this. And so this was like the first time I had read something like hers, where you're just sitting there questioning, is it like, what?
This is weird.
This
Yeah.
is so
What is
weird.
the truth?
Yeah. So that makes it like engaging too, just having the mangaka talking like and creating that kind of author's note.
So, Moika, you were saying there's an anime of this? I actually didn't know that.
Yes, it's a Netflix like original. It came
Ah,
out, yeah, I think it came out around 2017.
interesting.
That long ago?
So,
Yeah, you're right.
I guess like we could do the standard question. Was this manga different from how you expected it to be, like tone wise or anything, since you had watched the anime? Or
Um, well, I when I went into the anime, my first expectation was just like, ooh, pretty. There's it's probably gonna be like a like slice of life type thing, and I it was like so it was more fleshed out than I was expecting. And so I don't know, I think it's like pretty 1 to 1 for the adaptation, I feel. Granted, I it was like it's been a couple years since I've seen it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
maybe I'm just remembering things wrong, especially after reading this. But I felt like it was pretty 1 to 1 in the adaptation. So my expectations are about the same. It was just oh, more it'll probably be more slice of lifey, maybe some comedy. And no, it was like a lot more fleshed out, more violent than I was expecting, especially with the art style.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
I was a little happily surprised.
Yeah, it definitely had from the get-go it had a feeling kind of like Nazca, kind of like uh Magic Hat Atelier, like
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
sort of like comfy, soft but like detailed artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the violence started, I was very surprised. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
going to be like a cool story about like, maybe there'll be some fights, but this is going to be a cool story about, people understanding the mysteries to what's going on in this world. And then I realized very quickly that any character that I might like could potentially just die in the next chapter.
Yeah.
I was like, people are
Yeah.
dying so
Yeah.
quick. in
Death
this
flags.
manga.
Death flags everywhere.
Seriously, they
All
can't give
over.
anybody a moment, or I'll be like, they're dead.
Yeah.
They're gonna die.
Exactly. That's how I was feeling. I was like, oh, you're going there with them. You're not going to make it. And then some people do make it. And I'm like, are you sure you made it?
Kidding, I'm sick.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
I came into it. I feel like I saw somewhere that it was a little violent because once the violence started, I wasn't surprised by it. But I didn't expect it to be so much world building and so many characters. I thought it was going to be more of an adventure away from the mud whale. I thought it was going to be more exploring the rest of the world. So it wasn't going to be just about the mud whale. I thought that first time they went to the island and they met Rokos, that was the beginning of a new adventure, and then he was gonna have to figure out how to get back to the mud whale someday. So I was expecting a world adventure, was not expecting a like sticking on the same island adventure, and that's where the story is coming to them instead of them going to the story. So that was way different than my expectations.
Yeah, I thought there was definitely going to be a lot of like everyone is when the second that they established that there were so many people on this island, kind of Attack on Titan-y, right? There were people on this island who were like, I want to leave. Honestly, the second that was his name Numo? I can't remember. Powerful long hair boy.
Omu? Or
Omu. Omi? Omi?
Omi. Hang on. I have all the. Oh my God. Stop it, computer. Hang on. I have all of their names pulled up. Oni.
The second that Oni grabbed the girl and grabbed writer boy, I can't remember, the two main characters, when he grabbed them and took them to her island, part of me was like, oh, this is it, they're never coming back.
Yeah.
Like they're gone. Like this is the start of the adventure, right? Like this dude wants to leave so bad, is obviously a badass, right? So he's gonna be the, the like powerful character, and then they've got really emotional boy and devoid of emotions girl. So together they will start an adventure here. But yeah, that's such a good way to put it. I was really surprised, like, oh no, this story is about staying on this island. They've at least that's how it seems to be pitched so far by the like all-knowing entity characters, right? Is like, no, you must stay here and chronicle everything about this island until its death.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, we're not leaving, I guess.
But then we got the like one single future shot of Charco, writer boy, where he's like leaning against a window and his face is like all blacked out, and he's like, I once had to write about these people from my past, and then it goes back to the present. And so it's like, is he still on the whale there, or is that even him? It definitely seemed to be him. So that makes me wonder if they are eventually going to leave, or like how many years is this gonna span to? Like, is it gonna be just here, or is it going to like take more years? But then the young kids don't have more years, really. Like they have like 15 more.
Their lifespans are really short. But I assume they bring that up so often, and we know that beautiful Bishi chieftain, we know that he like desperately wants to figure out how to fix that. I assume that's going to be a big plot point. Like even the when they were on the enemy ship, they were like, you don't even know why you don't live very long, do you?
Yeah.
I was like, everybody knows. Like, something happened here to like
Yeah.
mess everybody up on this ship. So whether or not they are able to fix that, I guess is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this finished?
No.
No,
Okay.
it's still ongoing.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It started in 2013. It's still
Ho-ho.
going. So, on
Yeah, I think there's like 14 volumes right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's talk about characters. Let's jump into the talking about Dodger. I really like your descriptions of all the characters instead
Thank
of their
you.
names. Writer boy.
I remember his name because there's that one like super badass girl who has a soft spot for like being like the older sister that
Right.
called him Choky, and I
Yes.
thought of Chalky Milk, so that's why I remember his nickname. Which
Amazing.
fits him because the author talked about how the translation, for the original language or whatever, his name literally translates to like brown black, so like a brownish black color.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm just like, oh, perfect. Chocolate powder,
Gotcha.
brownish.
Oh.
I thought it was
Charcoal.
supposed to be like charcoal. That's what I thought because
Yeah.
he's a writer. Interesting. I wonder what it is. Yeah. I actually really liked him because the only moment that felt unbelievable to me was when he actually like got up to try and fight the dude.
Yeah.
When Sammy, is that her name? When Sammy
Yeah.
died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like I think one of the things that's honestly really endearing about him is that he's very normal. And I think sometimes when we have MCs that are kind of useless, I think we rag on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not useless. He's just, his skills are not in fighting,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that the story has established that it's only recently that he's learned how to write,
Mm-hmm.
and he loves it so much that he writes literally everything down.
Yeah.
So it's really, I like the moments of him writing about something and about to say how he's feeling, and then it like knocks you out of the narration, and he's like, no, I'm not supposed to write that in there because these are archives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not supposed to
Yeah.
write down my personal experience, right?
Yeah.
Moments like that I think are really cool. It would be really easy for the story. Okay, sorry, let me back up. I was
No,
a
you're
little
fine.
concerned. Not concerned, maybe that's a strong word. But when we had the chapter where he was like, and that was my final day as the archivist, I was really worried it was going to do that sort of a thing where the MC has like their job and their thing that they love, and then are like, just kidding, I'm a fighter now. And
Yes.
then we never touch on it again, right? Like,
Yeah.
they just don't, like, I was worried we weren't going to have those moments of him writing all the time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a consistent aspect of his character, and they still consistently bring up when he's been useful to like what's going on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he still does his job. Yeah, I like the way that he's written. I think he's very endearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that the people around him encourage it. They're not sitting there like, oh, you need to like learn how to fight. You need to be a fighter. That's what everybody does. Like, you're a marked. Like, you need to do this instead of writing. There's all these people who are like, we need somebody to write and keep this track, like, motive. Wow, brain. Wow.
It's
We
okay.
need somebody
It's okay.
to
Rewind.
keep this on, put this on paper so we're not forgotten and everything. And so you have people there that are actively encouraging this hobby to make it be like his life work, which is really, I feel like, doesn't happen a lot in a lot of manga. Like, he would be more of an outcast if he hadn't been, like, since he's not a fighter, but they just like make fun of him for being the destroyer because he just
Right.
like is so bad at being a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I really like
Yeah.
that aspect.
I guess what I like about it is that he kind of is like an outcast in the sense that it's weird that he's so emotional even by their standards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so he has like things that are detrimental to the point where they're like they nickname him the Destroyer just because of like just of how he is. And so I think I like that they like tease him about it, but it's like in such a friendly and warm way that it's not it's not in a mean way. I don't know how to better describe
Yeah,
this.
it feels like everybody really does care about each other. Like those
Mhm.
moments are in good humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, that's another thing that I really liked about this manga is that these people are a family. Even like the big outcasts that live down in the belly of the whale, like even they still they're troubled people, and so even the people up on the top side or whatever, they still love them even though
Mhm.
they are troublemakers.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think a moment that made that really feel real for me was when Oni was still locked up and was like, there is stuff going on up there and you need to let me out of here. Like I need to be up there and help. And the guy was like, yeah, you're right. And just let him out.
Yes.
It's like, they all know each other so well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like a small town where everybody
Yeah.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Um another thing that I liked, this is kind of like a side thing,
No, you're fine.
but when the other ship was falling apart, I liked that we had a split second with the other archivist
Yeah.
who was like writing down that the ship was falling apart, and they were like, don't write that. Don't write that down. Like,
Yeah.
throw those pages away. And
That's what
like
we want.
and to have a moment with her, like in her mind, that she felt the same way that Chalky feels,
Mhm.
of like, but this is what happened,
Yeah.
right? We're supposed to
Mhm.
write down our history, and like it's not our history if we're leaving things out.
Mhm.
I liked that because I think we met a lot of really shitty people on that ship, and so I think that moment with her kind of like humanized them more.
Mhm.
Like there are probably a lot of people on that ship that are more like not fighters. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
interesting since they're all supposed to have no emotions at all. Like that was
Yeah.
her just
Mhm.
clinical thinking of it. It was like, but I'm supposed to write down what everything that happens on the ship.
Yeah. Um. So Oni, what did you guys think about him?
It was love at first sight.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew.
I just he reminds me of Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, and like growing up, that was my favorite Tales game, and so the main
Oh,
character looks like him, except for instead of a ponytail, his hair is just down, and so I'm just like, oh, it's like basically the same character. Oh no.
I
here
want
we
to
go
know.
again.
He reminded me just in looks of Dark Mousy from D and Angel. I was like,
Oh, yeah, I
oh,
can
it's
see
dark.
that.
I can
Not
see that too.
personality. Personality is a big no. But he. What I liked about him is that he is the like really really powerful one.
Mhm.
But it's nice because not all of them are like really really powerful, so it doesn't cheapen his like storyline by being like 1 in 100. He is very much the only one who has as strong of powers as he does, so he is like the key to all of this stuff that is going to happen in the future. And I like that he's stoic, but he obviously has those emotions, because you see a lot of the stoic character and you're just like, I feel nothing. But they do a lot of show not tell with him through his friends dying and through what he wants to do. And so it was just really, he was very nice to feel that role. I thought he was really good, like a little bit more fleshed out than we might see in that role more often. But I'm also very curious to learn about his past and see what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, because in a story like this, you can't, like, there are obviously going to be so many characters that display no emotion in lots of ways, since that's such a plot point. So yeah, I'm sure it was tricky to have a character that's like pretty stoic and still try to establish like, but they have strong emotions just like everybody on this ship. Yeah, I really liked him. I like that we're still not sure if like he was developed as a weapon, question mark, or if he's just powerful. And along with all of the other like weird lies that the other side have about their ship, that one of them was, and they've developed this like super powerful emotional like weapon human, right? And if that is just kind of being placed on Oni when it's not necessarily true, it's just that he's just naturally very powerful. Yeah, so questions like that I think are interesting. I'm really curious where the hand thing started, because like why are they all so, is it because they were worried that their ship was going to suck up their emotions, so they developed this thing where it's like, if you feel like you're going to cry, like clasp your hands. Sorry, my hands are behind the microphone. This thing?
I was like trying to think of like powers,
this
like
thing.
The powers of
this
the hand.
thing. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Like this or this, I think it was.
Or this,
yeah, because they talked about how like it was like the first generation started it where like women would do this instead of just this. 'Cause this was like a men thing, and then the women would do this thing. And then I guess the younger generation just thought it was super old fashioned. So now
They
all of them
all
just
do this now.
And so yeah, I thought that was something really interesting, because I'm just like, did the people that were first imprisoned there, did they know that emotions brought out their power in some form, and so it was just like an easy way of them like self-inflicting pain to stop themselves from further going into those like feelings that they were having at the time, or what? Because you saw it with Suo, the pretty mayor, that whenever he was like troubled by something and was feeling really emotional about it,
like,
he would
dug his nails in.
Yeah, he would dig his nails in. And I think they even talk about it in like in between the chapters, where a lot of the adults grow out their nails for when they do the hand thing.
Yeah.
So
it's
so I'm really interested in what that's all about. Maybe it won't be answered. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe
I'm
it's
okay
just-
with some of this stuff not being answered, honestly.
And there's the whole idea that if you cry, you'll bring them back. Like the whole thing is letting the souls go and allowing them to be let go. And if you mourn them too much, then they're going to want to come back to like comfort you or do something, like become evil. Yeah.
The Sand Day chapter.
Oh, yes.
When they explained that, like, because all of their dead go into the sand, them, like, throwing the sand around is like, it's like they're back here with us. I was like, stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sad.
It was so
because, like,
bad.
a bunch of them had just died, you know? It was just, it was so sad.
The part, I actually screen grabbed it because I thought it was so pretty. And this might relate more to the art, but when that not Nettie, her twin, the Mud Whales knew, she shows Chakuro a vision or whatever it is, and it's just a cloud of people made out of sand that happens, and it's a full panel. I was just blown away. I was like, this is insane. Like, these are all people who have returned to the sand, but it's just like, it was so gorgeous. It was so detailed. And I thought it was interesting because going into it, knowing it was sand is a little bit, it's like much harder than like water and stuff. Like visualizing water, I feel like is a little bit easier to draw. And so having it all be just the drawn in the sand while being able to differentiate between all these people and add so many details, I just thought was very, very impressive and impactful, because then it came to all of the sand, like the coffins in the sand, the sand flying in the air, just all of that stuff. That was so pretty.
Yeah, I'm which, like, talking about Neri and her twin is Ima. I'm curious as to I'm really curious about them because they specifically say that their mother is the new. So I'm just so confused about like how they, like, in the story, like, are they like super beings that came about because instead of feeding Felena's new, like, because so all the other new, well, I don't know about the other news, but the other new that we're introduced to takes all the emotions of everyone that lives on it. And so I'm wondering if the shortened lifespan comes from the new sucking it up in exchange for giving them power so that she could have these babies. Or if they're just like, or if they're just weird creatures that somehow formed with this new, because we saw it with that little, like, I don't know what it is, badger dog thing.
Oh yeah,
it, like, because so the other new that they destroy, well, the new that
it
they
returned
took
to
down,
the sand.
well it didn't, because they grabbed it, the one that was gifted to Chalky for the way that he thought about things.
Right, but the image of the face of the new just kind of drifted off into the sand, right?
That's true. I did. So I'm curious because that one, it like formed with that badger thing, and apparently that thing's like a well-known myth thing that people know about, because Lycos was like, wait, is that, and then I don't remember the name of the little dog thing.
Right.
But she was just like, wait a minute, what is that? And it had a different name from the new that like gifted Chalky the thing. So that's why I'm just like, are Neri and Ima weird amalgamations, or were they actually birthed by the new?
Right.
Yeah, there's so much, like,
man, there's too much.
Don't know. There's so many,
theories.
like, there's so much information that comes out, and I think us reading so much at the same time, it was kind of like, I mean, personally, it's like, okay, I have to keep up with this plot line and like this information and this piece of information, that sometimes it was hard for my brain to hold on to all of it. And so there's things where I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. It's like, oh, I don't remember that, even though I know I read it. Like, I know it's in there somewhere. But yeah.
Yeah. I liked like kind of off of that, I liked that we had a moment where what is the main girl's name?
Lycos?
Or
when she was mentioning that she had a suspicion that was then she had a suspicion that all of the people on the Mud Whale were more powerful because they hadn't given their emotions up. And Moeka saying something about their lifespans. I'm now wondering, and this might be exactly what you were saying, but I'm now wondering if everybody else in this world has a perfectly normal lifespan, but they give their emotions up, and the mud whale takes part of their life away instead of their emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm curious about is does every mud whale or new take different things from these people
Yeah.
in exchange for something?
But the elders seemed, when the elders were talking to Lycos. Oh, Micah got frozen. I'm sorry.
No, she's back.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, she was probably still talking.
I-
I'm gonna be such a dick.
No, it's no.
When the elders were talking to Lycos when she first showed up, they were like, she is an emotionless one. So we can't let anybody leave.
It was like,
I
wait,
assume
what?
they're all emotionless.
Yeah. No, they were saying that all of them that aren't on Mud Whale are like emotionless because they've given up their. Or do you mean the elders?
I meant, as Moeko was saying, I wonder if the other ships do different things.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think
gotcha,
all of the
gotcha.
I think all of the other ships are emotion based.
That's what
but
it
you
seemed.
don't have any
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I thought going on with the emotion part, it was fascinating that Lycos was getting her emotions back by being away from the new, and so then that the new that was on her ship. So then that makes me interested if while she's on the mud whale, if she's gonna start losing her lifespan and she's gonna start getting more powerful, or if it's something that because she was born on the different place, if that doesn't matter to her, that doesn't count.
I'm really curious about the hostage that the mothballs took, because she's still like tied up there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
she's gonna slowly get her emotions back, probably.
Yeah.
I'm also really curious about the commander of the Vanguard, or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
The guy with like the
Life
fucked up
hack.
eyeball.
Dude,
Because I can't tell if he's supposed to. I can't tell if he's like naturally emotionless, or if he's supposed to be a plot point, like something's wrong with this guy. Like I can't tell.
Yeah. Him having a wife, I was like, what? And then his wife being introduced literally just to die really threw me for a loop. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? And then at her funeral he was very much, like you said, emotionless, didn't have much to say or anything really on his face at all. So I'm wondering, because then the fact that he was the one who went against like Yandere dude, I really liked the fact that he was the one who faced off against him, because it makes sense for the one guy, Yandere boy, who had literally no emotions, could not have emotions taken away from him because he didn't have any. Though, I mean, he did. Like, he liked watching people be scared of him. Like, that made him happy. But to have him go against the dude who lives on the mud whale and is seemingly emotionless, like, kind of like sociopath, those two going against each other, I really liked that mashup.
Yeah, I think talking about Shuan, that's the guy with the weird eye, and yeah, I'm really, because it talking blah, 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 backing up, Dodger talked about how maybe Oni was like part of some experiment when he was younger. I'm wondering if maybe Shuan also was a part of some weird experiment, because his eye seemed kind of, I don't know, it seemed like it was a part of the mud whale in some way. And then we also found out towards the end that Rasha, the one of the elders, the weird elder, is his mom, and she doesn't like him like at all. And so that's why I'm just like wondering, does she not see him as her son because she gave him up to be a part of this weird experiment to like
Yeah.
create a more powerful being, or what?
Yeah. I'm wondering those same
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, she's got a lot of mystery surrounding her. We didn't get very much of her. What we did was real weird.
Yeah.
Real weird. Let's talk about Linatari, I think is the one, the crazy boy.
The crazy boy, yeah. Oh,
What are you guys' thoughts on crazy boy?
I
I
loved
feel
him.
bad for him. Yeah. And they didn't find his body, right?
Yeah, so I think he's still alive.
So he's still on that ship somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere hanging out. I did like how his introduction was he's like all Genki, happy, sees Lycos, gives him a big hug, and she's like, stop acting like this when I know you can't. You're incapable of feeling. And then he immediately switches personalities. It's like, yeah, you're right. I like killing people. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the implication from what he said was that he has either willingly or been forced to like give his emotions to the new multiple times, and like that aspect of his personality just never goes away.
Yeah.
But when we got the like flashback, they were saying that he was one of the only kids who hadn't given his emotions to the new. So I'm wondering like what the truth is.
Yeah.
If he's like pretending that he's done it, but he hasn't.
Well, the way I read it was that he did give his emotions to the new, but the new didn't accept them.
Yeah.
Which,
that's what I thought too.
Which everyone on the island thought was really weird.
Weird, yeah.
And that's why his family's like, I guess I don't want to say hate, but they don't like him because of that, because they see him as dysfunctional because the new doesn't accept his feelings.
Right.
Yeah. What about pretty boy, pretty leader boy,
Suo?
I love him.
I love him. I want to protect him.
Sweet
too.
boy.
I want to save him.
I know, God, he's just so sad.
So sad. The way when he found out Sammy died was a big tearjerker moment, and the fact that he's praying over her and his hands are digging, like his nails are digging into his hands because he knows what he can't do, especially as a leader. Was big heart breaking.
Yeah.
Should we talk about art?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts?
I like the art a lot. I think it's very pretty. It's really detailed and like soft, which again I think is one of the reasons that the violence stands out so much when there is violence. But yeah, I think it's really beautiful. And like you were saying, there are some like really detailed panels where you're like, geez, that's gorgeous.
Even though we had so many characters, they were all very distinguished in terms of their looks and their clothing. There were moments where I was like, I feel like I've seen you before, but I don't really remember who you are. But I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of people mixed up between different characters. I wasn't like, you look exactly like this person. Though there was like the Suo and the one girl who has blonde hair who's like the same age. I do get those two mixed up sometime. I'm just like, wait, which one are you? You're wearing the same kind of clothes. I don't know. But overall, I thought the art was absolutely gorgeous. And like you were saying, Dodger, it's so pure and beautiful, and then when the violence happens, it stands out more. I feel like it made the baddies from the like executioners who came over so much more terrifying when they used their powers. Like, it just really stood out because their stuff is like shaded and dark and looks much harsher than the rest of the world. And so when they come in, I felt like they were just more frightening than they might have been if the art had been grungier or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was definitely much more menacing feeling when they were there.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much everything you guys said, that's what I'm feeling about the art. It's super pretty. I love the soft feel it has. It makes me really curious to check out her other manga because apparently Children of the Whales is her 8th.
8th?
Yeah.
What? Hold
Mm-hmm.
on. Let me look. That's crazy. Neat. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what her earlier stuff looks like.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on, or should we wrap up and do final thoughts and rating?
Sure.
No, I think we covered it.
Cool. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I give this, I really liked it, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It was like really intriguing. I love the characters. I'm still really curious to see like what the next arc is going to be all about and what we'll find out then.
I was gonna give it a 7.5. I think because my biggest criticism is how much lore dump there is. Like, I wish some of that had been said a little bit more naturally. But I really like the characters. I'm very curious. The world building is just insanely well done. I love the art. So I think overall, like, a 7.5 is where I'm landing with this one.
I was actually gonna give it an 8.5. I really, really enjoyed it. The lore aspects didn't bother me too much. There were definitely some parts with characters like, yes, it's me, don't you remember? And then they would just like barf everything about themselves, which is always like a rough way to start off with a character. But I did really like the characters overall, and I'm really intrigued by a lot of things about the manga. So I had a good time with it. I would definitely recommend it. I think that it was really good so far. So
Awesome. Well, there you go. That wraps up our discussion on Children of the Whales, WHALES. Sounds like something you guys are interested in. You can go ahead and check it out. And I'm going to now read the description for the manga that we are reading next week. And you guys in chat get to guess what it is. Nice and succinct description.
oh yes, go.
Blank and her friends have a pretty good life at the blank they grew up in. Though the rules may be strict, the caretaker is kind. But why are the children blank from ever blanking? ... Question mark.
Blank, blank, blanks.
Blanky blank 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 blank.
That's actually a good one. I feel like it's succinct enough, and like I feel like somebody could get this.
I do too. Come on, guys.
Yes,
believe.
yes, yes.
Good,
Chat,
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 good, go.
chat, 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 chat.
Promise
someone
Neverland!
got it.
Neverland!
Yay!
Yay! Yep, we are going to read Promise Neverland. I had it pulled up for, oh my gosh, Wadut.
Another female mangaka.
Yes.
Been working a lot of them in by accident.
Love it. By accident,
not
but
planned
we
at all.
love it.
You'd love
We
to see it.
hell yeah. We are reading volumes 5 through 8, chapters 37 through 70. That is what we are going to be reading next week. I'm so excited. So stoked.
Yeah.
let's go around and shout out our stuff super duper fast. If you guys want more MangaPod, we have a Reddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. We also have a website, and Spotify, Instagram. We do have an Instagram. So we got a lot of social media. If you want to go to the website, you can check out all the links to everything. Me personally, I'm Happily Aaron from YouTube. I don't really update it there, but all the previous MangaPods are there. I'm working on a book currently. I'm very excited. People are getting beta reader notes back, which is really fun to read. And then I am much more active on Twitter and Instagram. I'm currently real deep into Thai dramas. If you need recommendations, I got you. I got you there. But otherwise, yeah, that's me. What do you
A follow up to that. Sam was on his phone and was like, "Is Aaron really into K-pop?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "He keeps like retweeting GIFs and stuff. I can't tell. What is this?" I was like, "They're Thai dramas, honey." He was like, "I never would have guessed." It was very funny. Hi guys, I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dex Bonus on pretty much everything. I'm a variety streamer. I stream almost every day, and I've got all the social medias. It's a lot of child anecdotes and me complaining about kids shows, and this is what my life is now. Yeah, so come hang out. Come say hi.
Hello, I'm Moika. I do streaming. I do a lot of stuff. You can pretty much find me at Mega Moika on all sites. Yeah, I'll see if I can show off some cosplay next week because I do have an Emma cosplay.
Yay!
So we'll see.
Oh.
Do it. That's awesome. And our fourth co-host, Lou, he is currently moving, so he's not able to be here. But if you want to go give him some love on Twitter, it's Lou Talks Anime over there. He's awesome, and we love him very, very, very much. Very much. So yeah, that wraps up this episode. We hope that you guys join us next week for Promised Neverland Volumes 5 through 8, Chapters 37 through 70. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching and hanging out with us. Bye!
Bye-bye.
Bye!
Bye 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 bye.
Bye
Bye bye bye bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye 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 bye
Get
bye.
our hot
Bye bye
Chat,
bye
chat,
bye bye.
chat, 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 chat.